My client Leo is a successful lawyer who spent over $2,000 on Mounjaro over the past year. He lost weight, gained it back, lost it again, and they came to me with one simple question. Andres, how do I get off this medication without gaining everything back? What I told him might surprise you and is exactly what I'm going to share with you today. Hey everyone, it's Andres here. I'm a registered dietitian with over 12 years of experience, and I specialize in helping busy professionals lose weight sustainably. Now, I get asked about Ozempic, Mounjaro, and other GLP-1 medications almost daily. And while these medications can be incredibly effective, there's one conversation I have with every single client before they start. And it's a conversation that determines whether they'll succeed long-term or end up trapped in a cycle of dependency. In this video, I'm going to share exactly what I tell my clients like Leo before they make this decision. But here's the thing, the people who succeed long-term with these medications aren't just the ones who take them. They're the ones who do something else first. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that is. Let me tell you more about Leo. He's incredibly successful. He built his own law firm here in Tampa, where I'm from the ground up, and he has a very thriving practice. The kind of guy who can handle complex cases, and he can manage a team without breaking a sweat, if you ask me. But when he come down to his weight, he felt completely out of control, and this happens to a lot of the high performers that I tend to work with. He tried everything: personal trainers, meal plans, keto, intermittent fasting, you name it. He'd lose 20 to 30 pounds, then life would get busy, stress would hit, and then the weight would come right back. So when his doctor suggested a GLP-1 medication like Mounjaro, it felt like a really good miracle for him. The first few months were really good. In fact, we were working together then. But he had a lot of issues mindset-wise. The constant food thoughts just were ongoing, and when he started, they disappeared. He wasn't really thinking about his next meal every hour. He lost 35 pounds, went from 225 pounds to 190, and he felt amazing. But then something happened that a lot of people don't talk about. Life got stressful again. Big cases at the firm, mental health issues, and even on the medication, he started struggling. He would skip doses when things got busy, and then immediately the hunger would come roaring back. He would panic and get back on it, but the pattern kept repeating. Now, after 1 year of this cycle, Leo came to me and he said something that I hear all the time. I don't want to be on this medication forever, but I'm terrified of what happens when I stop. In fact, every time he did, his weight would creep up 8 to 10 pounds and he would start the medication again. Here's what I told him and what I'm telling you today. The medication worked, that it didn't teach him anything. And worse, it was actually setting him up for failure in a way that he never saw coming. Look, I am not anti-medication. These drugs can be incredibly helpful tools. In fact, I work with doctors who prescribe them and I support that. But here's what they don't do. And this is a part of it that really concerns me as a dietitian. When these medications suppress your appetite so dramatically, most people end up eating too few calories. I'm talking 1,200, sometimes even as little as 800 calories a day. And yes, you lose weight fast, but here's the problem nobody talks about. You're not just losing fat, you're losing significant amounts of muscle. And when you lose muscle, your metabolism changes and it tends to slow down. Muscle tissue burns calories even when you're not moving. So the more muscle you lose, the fewer calories your body needs to maintain that weight. This is why so many people gain the weight back so quickly when they stop the medication. On top of the hunger coming back, their metabolism is now slower than when they started. Leo discovered this, honestly, the tough way. When he came to me, we did a body composition scan, and despite losing 35 pounds, he lost almost 15 pounds of muscle. His metabolism had dropped significantly, which is exactly why he was so terrified to stop the medication. But it gets worse. The medication doesn't teach you how to manage your hunger naturally. It doesn't address why you were overeating in the first place, and it definitely doesn't teach you how to navigate stress, emotions, and real life without relying on artificial appetite suppression. This is what I call the education gap. The medication creates the window of opportunity, but if you don't use that window to build sustainable habits and protect your metabolism, you're setting up yourself up for dependency and honestly metabolic damage. Now, this is exactly why Leo and I took a completely different approach. Instead of seeing the medication as a solution, we used it as a tool while we built the foundation for long-term success and protected his metabolic state. Here's 5 things that we did. First, we made sure he was eating enough protein, at least 1 gram per pound of his lean mass. This would allow him to preserve his muscle mass while he was losing fat. Most people on these medications aren't eating nearly enough protein because their appetite is so suppressed. Second, we implemented a strategic resistance training program. This was a non-negotiable. If you're going to lose lose weight, especially with the help of medication, you need to be doing everything possible to maintain and build muscle. This is what keeps your metabolism healthy. And third, we worked on natural hunger management protocols. While the medication was suppressing his appetite, we taught him how to recognize true hunger signals, understanding proper portion sizes, and developing eating patterns that would work without the medication, specifically in things like emotional states and stress triggers and things like that. We also addressed his metabolic health from the ground up. We optimized his sleep, we managed his stress levels, and we created movement patterns that supported a healthy metabolism more naturally. And finally, we created a strategic tapering plan. Instead of just stopping the medication cold turkey, we gradually reduced his dependence while building his confidence in managing hunger naturally and maintaining his muscle mass. And the result, well, Leo has been off of Mounjaro for a few months now, but here's the key. He's maintained his muscle mass throughout the process. His metabolism is actually higher now than when he started because he's really been pushing it at the gym. He's maintained his weight loss. He's currently right now at 188 pounds actually, because he texted me just not too long ago. And most importantly, he feels in control of his eating habits for the first time in years. So if you're considering these medications, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions before you make this decision. The first one, what's your plan to protect your metabolism? Are you going to make sure that you're eating enough protein and doing resistance training to preserve muscle mass? Second, have you addressed the root causes of your weight gain? Is it stress, emotional eating, poor sleep, hormonal issues? Because if you haven't addressed these, this medication is just masking the symptoms and not solving the root cause of the problem. So you simply become another thing that you did. And third, do you have proper support? Do you have someone who can teach you the skills that you need for long-term success while protecting your metabolism during the process, and not your support system being your doctor prescribing this for the rest of your life? Here's what I've learned after working with dozens of clients who use these medications. The ones who succeed long-term are the ones who use medication strategically, not dependently. They use it as a tool to create space for learning and building sustainable habits while protecting their metabolic health. Now, these drugs are amazing for some people, but they're designed to be used forever. A recent study that looked at the long-term effects of semaglutide found that weight loss is maintained after 4 years but as soon as people stopped, the weight and the metabolic benefits that they obtained from it completely disappeared. Honestly, many of my clients discovered that they don't even need the medication once we address the underlying issues and we optimize their metabolism properly. Look, I'm not here to tell you whether or not you should be taking these medications. That's a decision between you, your doctor, your support system. But what I am telling you is this: if you're going to use them strategically. Use them as a tool to build a foundation for long-term success, not as a permanent crutch. Leo's story could have been very different if he had this conversation before he started. And even though we were working on this stuff a little bit before he did it, he just did this behind my back. And again, that's a story for a different day. He could have saved himself months, potentially also years of frustrations and thousands of dollars by addressing the root cause of this first. If you're considering these medications, or if you're already on them and you want an exit strategy like Leo, I offer a free metabolic assessment call where we can discuss your specific situation and we can create a personalized plan for this. The link is in the description below. This isn't really a sales call, it's a strategy call. It's a conversation that a lot of people that are on these medications, they wish if they had done, or they booked before, spending years or months, spending thousands of dollars figuring this stuff out the hard way. Because here's the truth: whether you use the medication or not, sustainable weight loss comes down to the same fundamentals. And the sooner you address those fundamentals, the sooner you'll have the freedom and the confidence that comes with being in control of your health. So what's it gonna be? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And make sure that if you enjoyed this video and you liked it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit a like, and then also make sure you share it to somebody that you know could use this video or could use some of the content and value that I shared today. See you soon.